Morning, Sarasota UU. So we're going to do a new hymn that we haven't done since I've been here. 291, Die Gedanken sind frei is how that is pronounced, I am told. So please rise in body and or spirit and sing with all the warmth that is in your heart as we continue to warm up from this cold weather.
I'm a member of the Board of Trustees, at least for the next 2 months until my term expires. We want to extend a warm welcome to everyone, especially to our visitors on campus and over live stream. And we want to invite all of you who are visitors to participate in any of our events. We welcome you to find out more about us and Unitarian Universalism by registering on our virtual guest book right outside that door, and the one you can find via a link on the home page of our website at UU, up there, at uusrq.org. If you're a person, as I said, there's a sign-up sheet right outside the door. And if you do, we will send you our weekly newsletter and Zoom links to all of our virtual events. We look forward to getting to know each other. This Sunday in particular is the first Sunday of the month, and so it is new member sign-up Sunday. If you're interested in joining our community as a member, please go to the minister's office, which is in the Lexell wing across the courtyard after the service. Thank you.
We are happy to invite back to our pulpit Passerine and the wonderful music that they always provide when they are here. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. With the theme of today's service as humanism, we're going to start off with a song by Nancy Griffith that paints a couple of really poignant vignettes about some of the more challenging aspects of being part of a human family. It's called It's a Hard Life.
I'm the backseat driver from America. Drive to the left on fall through. cafeteria line in Chicago. That man in front of me is calling black people trash to his children. He's the only trash here I see. I am thinking that this man wears a white hood in the night when his children should sleep. They'll run to their windows, they'll see him, and they'll think that white hood's all they'll need.
It's a hard life, it's a hard life, it's a very hard life. A hard life wherever you go. If we poison our children with hatred, then a hard life is all that they'll know. There ain't no place in Chicago for those kids to grow.
And I was a child in the 60s, really was, when dreams could be held through your TV. Disney and Cronkite, Martin Luther. I believed, I believed, I believed. I'm a backseat driver from America. I am not at the wheel of control. I am guilty, I am worn, I'm through all evil. Lord, and I can't drive on the right side of the road, never.
It's a hard life, it's a hard life, it's a very hard life. A hard life wherever you go. If we poison our children with hatred, then a hard life is all that they'll know. There ain't no place in this world for those kids to grow. If a hard life is all that they'll know.
If a hard life is all that they'll know.
Thank you so much for sharing your gifts of music with us. Our opening reading today, by the way, I'm Reverend J. Wolin, the minister here at the Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota. There might be new people here who are just wondering, who is this person who's getting up and speaking? Our opening reading today is the preface to a Humanist Manifesto written in 1933. The time has come for widespread recognition of the radical changes in religious beliefs throughout the modern world. The time is past for mere revision of traditional attitudes. Science and economic change have disrupted the old beliefs. Today, humanity's larger understanding of the universe, our scientific achievements, and deeper appreciation of kinship have created a situation which requires a new statement of the means and purposes of religion. Such a vital, fearless, and frank religion capable of furnishing adequate social goals and personal satisfactions may appear to many people as a complete break with the past. While this age does owe a vast debt to the traditional religions, it is nonetheless obvious that any religion that can hope to be a synthesizing and dynamic force for today must be shaped by the needs of this age. And so please join me as we light our chalice as a way to light our way into the future. This is one of our sources of our religious wisdom. Humanist teachings
counsel us to heed the guidance of reason and the results of science, and warn us against idolatries
of the mind and the spirit.
Good morning, everyone. Just a quick reminder that when you walk out for the very human thing of coffee time, it is not in the courtyard today, it's in the Lexal. So just complete your walk all the way across. So today's story is Elle, the Humanist, written by Elle Harris and her dad, Doug Harris. Hello, my name is Elle, and I'm 9 years old, and I am a humanist. A humanist is a person who tries to be good because they want to make the world a better place for everyone. Have you heard of a humanist? Most of my friends at school haven't, so they ask me questions to understand. Most of the time, these questions start when my friends ask me, "What church do you go to?" And then I tell them, I don't go to any church. There are many humanist groups that give us a chance to be part of a community, the same way a religious church is a community. Some humanists choose to be part of an organized group. My family's community group comes from our friends and our families and our local soccer club that we love. Some of my friends ask me, how do I know what is right and wrong if I don't go to church and I don't study from their books like the Bible or the Quran? Well, my family doesn't read church books together, but we do love to read about science and nature and history as we learn how to think about being good people. My parents taught me a simple rule to help me understand what is right and wrong. It is called the Platinum Rule. The Platinum Rule is simple. Treat others the way they would like to be treated. Rules like this have been taught for thousands of years, and if you had a telescope, you could actually see on this fun chart how the Platinum Rule is very much like all the other golden rules taught in other religions. If you'd like to see this in a bigger version, stop by the Children's West Wing classroom because we have it there. The humanist version of this, the Platinum Rule, is fun and easy, and this is how I use it. Would my friends like me to steal their toys? No, so I don't steal their toys. Would my friends like me to lie to them? No, so I don't lie to them. I can also do nice things with the Platinum Rule. Here's how this works. Would my friends like me to share my treats with them? Yes, so I share my treats. Would my mom like me to clean up my room and help with the dishes after dinner? Yes, so I clean my room and I help with the dishes. I do things not because someone or a mystical being tells me, because it's the right thing to do. And I have to remember that some people don't want to be treated like I want to be treated, because you know what, we're all very different. That's why the Platinum Rule teaches us to treat people how they want to be treated, not how I want to be treated. For example, my friend Brinley doesn't like sushi, even though I do. So when we have a choice of where we go to eat, I pick a restaurant that has pizza, which is Brinley's favorite. Some of my friends ask me questions like, well, how do you know you're good enough to get into heaven after you die? I don't know what happens to us after we die, but I know that being a good person and helping others makes the people around me happier, and that makes me feel happy. It doesn't matter if you're Chinese or Pakistani or German or Mexican, or if you're just from the United States like me, or if you believe in Krishna, Poseidon, Jesus, Muhammad, or if you don't believe in any God or any of the prophets like me. We're all here trying to be our best and to be happy as we live on this wonderful earth. And being a good person and loving others makes us all happier than anything else. So, you know, even as an adult, sometimes it's hard to know what to tell others on what we believe, probably because it's not always clear to us. This book was written by Elle. This is Elle here when she was 9 with her dad's help. And I just think that book was pretty fantastic for a 9-year-old. And I personally wish I had had a book like that, because at 9, I was in the 3rd grade and had that exact same question asked of me. What church do you go to? And when I said none, they said, well, you're definitely going to hell then. What we teach our children. And if you look at the 10 commitments of humanists, you can see that they are very much interwoven into our UU values, along with the teachings of other religions and science and philosophy. And here at our congregation, in the children in our programs are shown different ways of looking at the world so that they too can determine which path that they would like to do to make this world a better place. We don't teach them what to think, but we give them permission to question and think for themselves. So I invite you all to stop by the West Wing sometime and see what we're up to. I now invite any children or youth to join me and Miss Kristen in the West Wing for a lesson on resilience. Thank you.
Dear friend who was raised in this way, and when she was very young, somebody said something to her about religion, and she's like, what's that? And they're like, well, if you don't know religion, then you're going to know the devil. And she's like, what's the devil? What's devil? I've never heard of that. So, yeah. The first song we thought about and we chose because what's going on in the world right now, which is, to me, that one word, if we poison our children with hatred, that line, then a hard life is all that they'll know. And so we will not do that, right? Well, instead we'll give them wildflowers, and that's the next song. It's a Tom Petty song, and we should all be among the wildflowers. Maybe they'll spring out pretty soon. I don't know why it's cold here, but apparently it is. Okay, are we ready? Among the wildflowers, you belong in a boat out at sea. Sail away, kill off the hours. You belong somewhere you feel free. Run away, find you a lover, somewhere all bright and new. I have seen no other who compares with you. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong in a boat out at sea. You belong with your love on your arm. You belong somewhere you feel free.
Our centering in words today from the Reverend William Murray from his book Reason and Reverence. I am a humanist because I believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Because I believe life is most worth living when we strive to make the world a better place. And because I believe the only possibility for a world in which love, justice, peace, and freedom prevail is through human beings working together to transform the world. If religion is about affirming the sacred and encountering the holy, I believe as a humanistic religious naturalist that the universe and human life are sacred and living humanely is holy. Let us now take a moment of contemplation as we contemplate what is holy in our life.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Beth Miller, and let me get things going here. There we go. I'm a retired Unitarian Universalist minister and a member of this church now, a retired minister, just an ordinary person singing in the choir with many of you. I served here, though, as half-time associate minister from September of 2019 through February of 2022. Along with the Reverend Bud Friend Jones, a retired United Church of Christ minister who was also here at quarter time. And after that, after I left here, I observed the Unitarian Universalist ministry of absence and didn't attend anything here or maintain professional or personal relationships with the members until Reverend Jay graciously invited me to come back. That's our discipline. And after he did that, the following Easter, a little bit later, I did indeed come back, and I've been a regular member here since Easter of 2023. And Reverend Bud is an interim minister serving in Minneapolis right now. God bless him. Yeah. We were 1 3/4 ministers then, and I'm here to offer some of my perspective on why we need to now meet this very important moment in the life of the Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota, and indeed in this chaotic time, this crazy moment that we are in our country. So, there's an interactive part here. How many of you have come to this church since the Reverend Roger Frintz left? So raise your hands if you came, and if you're a member, fine. If you're just an attender, that's fine, even kids. So raise your hand, and everybody just kind of look around and see what hands are up, right? A lot of people have joined since then or come and become participants. Now, those of you who have come since Reverend Jay arrived here in August of 2022, right? Yeah, right, 2022. Those of you who've come since then, raise your hands. Oh my goodness, a lot of you did. And again, take a look around. All right. When I began serving here in 2019, this was a busy place. We even had a small but mighty satellite congregation out in Lakewood Ranch, and we worked hard to try and keep that going. Reverend Roger felt strongly at that time that we needed a second minister at least half-time. He explained his thinking in his last regular sermon, which was on YouTube, although it was anything but regular. It was his last regular sermon on March 29th, 2020. And here are some excerpts from that sermon.
Over a year ago, I announced my retirement, effective April 1st. I encouraged the board to hire Beth and Bud to start last September. They are helping with the transition from my departure to an interim minister and eventually to a settled minister. All of these plans changed on March 13th, the day when most of us decided to take the coronavirus seriously and shut things down. Everything I thought was nailed down had come loose. I went to Maryland that day for a quick weekend visit. Beth was going to lead the service. I was going to fly back on Tuesday, March 17th, but my wife talked me out of it. You don't want to be on an airplane right now. You can do Zoom. You can send emails. You can talk on the phone just as well in isolation here in Maryland as you can in Sarasota. Imagine if one of us gets sick, she said. We do not want to be 1,000 miles away from each other. So today, March 29th, I'm talking to you on a video recording instead of in our church worship space.
The end of the quote there, of course. So we were shut down and began creating services, virtual services and Zoom programs to keep us connected, and many of those are still going on today. Zoom and YouTube really became the unexpected gift of the pandemic, and we're using those tools quite well still. So much has changed through the pandemic, so much changed during that time. People moved to be closer to family or drifted away for a variety of reasons. Our congregation decreased, our income decreased, but our expenses increased to provide the equipment and the expertise to create and maintain a virtual church experience. We applied for government grants to avoid staff layoffs and were able to not let anybody go through that time. And 2 years later, the board was trying to come up with a balanced budget. And Bud and I decided to retire. We were both retired ministers in March of 2022 to help the budget out. The Reverend Doug Watkins, our interim minister, had been with us since August of 2020, and the search for the settled minister was well underway, and a new minister was expected to join us in August. So now, 3+ years later, We're back to our pre-COVID numbers, and with the average virtual attendance of around 100 views a week, even more people than we had back then. We're more active in the larger community, and we have more going on internally than ever before. It's too much for one minister, even for our Energizer bunny, the Reverend J. Wolin. The Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota are making a difference in our own personal lives and definitely in the surrounding area that we serve. We serve way beyond our doors these days. We've been given all the information we need on how much more we need to pledge and why. We've had these pulpit announcements for several weeks now. We've been asked for an average increase of $60 a month. I'm personally adding 25% to last year's pledge because it's important to me and because I can. Won't you join me in whatever ways you can? Thank you. And with that in mind, please join in the offering now. We'll take the offering and be as generous as you can. Let this sacred time begin.
next reading is from the Reverend John Dietrich from his writing Unitarianism and Humanism. John Dietrich is considered the parent of religious humanism in this country. He served for 22 years from 1916 to 1938 as the minister of the First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis. He writes, "My conception of humanism is the knowledge of humanity and our duties toward humanity. That is humanism. It does not deny the right to believe in God and learn what you can about that which we designate as God, but it places faith in humans, a knowledge of humanity and our duties toward one another first. It is principally shifting emphasis in religion from God to humans. It makes the prime task of religion not the contemplation of the eternal, the worship of the Most High, the withdrawal from this world that one may better commune with God, but rather the contemplation of the conditions of human life, the reverence for the worth of a human life, and the entering into the world in order by that human effort, human life may be improved. In short, the task of humanism is to unfold the personality of men and women to fit and qualify them for the best use of their natural powers and the fullest enjoyment of the natural world and the human society around them. It conceives of religion as a spiritual enthusiasm directed toward the enrichment of the individual life and the improvement of the social order. And I know one thing that really improves the social order for me, and I think for all of us, is the music of Passerine.
I know there are many of you here that cut your teeth on this next song. So it is a sing-along. Please join us where you know you feel comfortable. Let's see, I can get rid of that. Okay, ready? 2, 3, 4. Love is but a song we sing, fears away we die. You can make the mountains ring or make the angels cry. Though the bird is on the wing, you may not know why. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Thank you.
Unitarian Universalism, although born out of the Christian tradition, has long had a penchant for free thinkers. Since 1898, as a religion, we have had a non-creedalism statement in our bylaws, meaning you do not have to state that you believe or have a specific theology to be a member here, or in Unitarian Universalism writ large. This commitment to theological freedom continues today, even with our latest revision of our Unitarian Universalist bylaws last year, where we affirmed our pluralistic theology. Now, for much of the 20th century, particularly in the Unitarian side of Unitarian Universalists, we were a staunchly humanist religion. And given this deep connection between humanism and Unitarianism, it's worth pausing to stop and ask, just what do we mean when we say humanism? I get this question a lot. So first, let me share with you what humanism has meant across different eras that have shaped our tradition. Because humanism is not just one thing. It is a family of traditions, right? Each asking a different question about what it means to be human. Greek humanists sought virtue. Many were skeptics, and yet they still believed in their gods. The most famous was Protagoras, who stated, "Man is the measure of all things," meaning we center human experience as the arbiter of truth. Renaissance humanism, looking back to the Greeks, again rejected the otherworldliness of medieval Christianity and celebrated new scientific findings, beauty, and creativity. Nietzsche was probably a little more provocative and declared that God is dead, not merely as a fact, but as a question. Could human beings bear the responsibility for creating meaning ourselves? Natural humanism affirms that the natural world is all that exists, yet insists that the nature itself is worthy of awe and reverence and moral commitment. Meaning, wonder and ethical responsibility arise not from the supernatural, but from our participation in an evolving, interdependent universe of which we are a part. It invites us to respond to reality as it is, with humility, gratitude, and care. And then there is religious humanism, which centers meaning and moral authority in human experiences, reason, and relationship, rather than in a divine command. It treats community, ethical action, shared values as sacred practices grounded in a deep trust in human dignity and responsibility. In religious humanism, the holy is not found beyond humanity, but within our commitments to one another and the world that we create together. These last two forms of humanism, naturalist and religious humanism, they're very much related, and I think is a big part of who we are, but they do emphasize different starting points, nature versus human. Right? And really, I would argue that they are all one and the same. Humanists of all types might find themselves anywhere across a spectrum of what it means to be humanists. These various humanisms aren't just abstract categories. They involve lived experiences that people have. And so I turned to my own journey, my own exploration of how I came to my theology that I call myself a mystical humanist. Growing up in the Jewish religion, I was steeped in the theology of suffering. Right? Part of the Jewish scriptures focuses on God's anger at the Jews for not having right action. And other parts focused on God's blessings for the Jews and the Hebrews for taking right action. As a child, it was all very confusing to me, to be honest. Looking back with knowledge, it's easy to see that this is the story of a history of a people and how they tried to understand the world that they lived in with the knowledge that they had. But in the moment, I was just worried that every action I took could bring cataclysmic change to the world, or at least my world. So this would be my analytical version of it, looking backwards, right? In the moment, an experience happened that I still remember to this day, in the moment, that when I was a child on the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur, on this holiest day for Jewish people, and they're supposed to fast. And I was really sick. But since it was a holy day, I dutifully went to temple and didn't tell anyone for fear of upsetting what I thought was the laws of nature, that you had to fast in order to be written into the book of life. That was the holiday. And so later in the afternoon, my grandfather found me curled up in the corner of my bedroom, and he coaxed out of me what was wrong. And he insisted that I have something to eat in order to regain my strength. But I was literally terrified that God would not enter me in the book of the life for next year. And my grandfather, in his wise way, quoting the Talmud, said, God does not want you to suffer, and healing oneself or another overrides all the other laws of God. Now, I admit this comforted me, and I had something to eat. And I thought, okay, there are exceptions to the rules. And this thought has stayed with me throughout my entire life. I just want you to say, perhaps there are still universal rules that I have not learned yet, right? But of course I thought, if God didn't want me to suffer, God would not want anyone to suffer. And if that was true, why was there so much suffering in the world? And these questions haunted me. Years later, I found them perfectly captured in Holocaust survivor Elie Wiesel's book, Dawn, where he writes, so many questions obsessed me. Where is God to be found, in the suffering or in the rebellion? Where is the human most truly human, when they submit or when they refuse? Where does suffering lead them? To purification or bestiality? And as I grew, I continued to experience and observe suffering in the world. So I searched for why there was so much suffering. As a young adult, I started studying Buddhism, whose Four Noble Truths teach a way out of suffering. And Buddhism is very much a humanistic religion. But then after we started a family, before I found my way to Unitarian Universalism, I found my way to the Ethical Culture Society of New York, which, believe it or not, the leader there was a former minister here, believe it or not. But that is where I first came into contact with a Humanist Manifesto, which was written in 1933. It is called a Humanist Manifesto, not the Humanist Manifesto, because the writers knew that over time, with new knowledge, it would be superseded. And it was superseded twice, actually. Humanist Manifesto 2 in 1973, and the third one in 2003. I don't know why they all end in threes. Maybe that's my own thing. I don't know. But let me trace these three manifestos, each responding to its moment in history. And I think they are important historical, even sacred documents, as it is a witness to our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Breaking from dogmatic tradition based on our experiences in our world was and is a cornerstone of Unitarianism. I think it is important to note that 13 of the 34 signers of the first manifesto were Unitarian ministers. When it was written in 1933, we as a country were in the deep throes of an economic depression. It was the suffering of the people that led to a radical change in religion. The old ways did not provide answers to the people as to how to live in the world. Some of these words still ring true for us. Unitarian Universalism is a synthesizing and dynamic force. And just as then, many of us found our way to Unitarian Universalism in recognition of the radical changes in the world. And we were looking for a religion that would embrace those changes. Many were unsatisfied with ancient creeds and unanswered questions for our deepest yearning, for connection and meaning. And we've come together to find a new way of being together in community, synthesizing older traditions with newer wisdom. And we are now reinventing ourselves, always reinventing ourselves, as we integrate humanism within our pluralistic theological perspective. Remember, Charles Darwin's lesson was that evolution happens through adaptation to the environment we are in. Not the strongest survive, but those who can adapt. And so the first manifesto had 15 affirmations. In some ways, it was a little naive in the power of progress, and that humanity as well, seeming to ignore that humanity also has deficits within us. It recognized that humanity has the power to create, but seemed to forget that humanity had the power to destroy. Still, it stated, nothing human is alien to the religious, and constantly refers to humanism as the fulfillment of religion. But after the Holocaust and the use of the atom bomb, the second manifesto was much, much longer and much more prescriptive in how to improve the world. Constantly focus on a one-world community. Although both manifestos were anti-supernatural, the second was more nuanced and included a line that said, nature may indeed be broader and deeper than we now know. The second manifesto, more so than the first, advocated for direct rejection of traditional religion, stating that, and I quote, its principles relevant to the present human condition are designed for a secular society on a planetary scale, end quote. The third manifesto, titled Humanism and Its Aspirations, writes specifically that it is a successor of the 1933 a Humanist Manifesto, completely ignoring or bypassing the second manifesto. I imagine the politics of that one must have been fascinating. Gone are the sweeping blueprints and the rigid declarations of the second manifesto. Instead, we hear humility, values, and ideals. It says these are subject to change as our knowledge and understanding advance, end quote. Humanism no longer framed as a religion or even a system, but as a philosophy of life, giving a way of living grounded in responsibility, relationship, and care for the entire planet. So where does this leave us? Evolving, constantly evolving. My religious and spiritual journey continued to this day, and they continue to evolve. I recognize humbly there are experiences that I have had that I cannot explain rationally. Through my Buddhist teachings, I find wonder and awe in the interdependence of life. I find meaning and holiness in the building of the beloved community of Unitarian Universalism, in all its messiness and struggle and beauty and joy, creating something that none of us could do alone. And so I wonder where I, the congregation, the world will be as a whole, and where we will revolve religiously from here. That's why we have our mission and our vision to help guide us, but it takes all of us together doing it. And so I trust it will remain grounded, though, in the here and the now. As stated in the Humanist Manifesto, humanity is at last becoming aware that we alone are responsible for the realization of our dreams, that we have within ourselves the power for its achievement, and we must set intelligence and will to the task, and I would add heart. I feel something sacred when we gather in this place, when we struggle together to overcome injustice, when we hold one another through our grief and celebrate one another's joy. Lately, there's been too much grief. But that is something that we will face together and with others. So let us remember what Reverend John Dietrich said. We are of supreme worth, that we are an end and not a means. So let us build the world that we dream about. May it be so. Please rise in body and or spirit for our closing hymn, We Laugh, We Cry, 354. We now extinguish our flame. Please join me in the closing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you all for your presence here today. Go forth and treat your fellow humans humanely.